Hello, everyone. Hi, Charlene. Hi, Campaign. Hope you're all doing great. And the lovely gentleman with me today is Rich from Renegade Rose. How are you doing, Rich?
Hello. I'm doing really well, thank you. Hello from sunny Scotland. Which isn't sunny today. I only say that out of optimism, sort of hoping for the best. But doing okay. I'm inside. I'm safe and warm. I've got paints. I've got my friend Karl here, so it's a good time.
I see that Loosely Collected has also joined us. Hi, Loosely Collected. So, Rich, what we're going to do today is close to the usual format of the stream, but we'll also be painting some miniatures today. So while we're talking, we're also going to get our hands dirty with some paint. But before we start that, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name's Rich, based in Glasgow in sunny Scotland. I am, by night, a dungeon tuber talking not so much about D&D, actually. I tend to speak about the wide range of role-playing games with a focus on the narrative and the storytelling aspects of the game, how we can bring a game which often for a lot of people is very tactical, is very strategic, but really elevate the storytelling aspects and just have a good time with our friends and have fun with it. And so I've been on YouTube for a year and a half now, doing specifically dungeon tubing for 15 months since March last year, and it's just a lovely time. It's an amazing community of people, lovely folks everywhere. I've learned a lot as well. It's a great way of learning things when you start actually presenting to people and think, well, what is my thinking? Well, what do I think about this? How can I present it in the best possible way? And one of the things I said when I started is that I'm maybe not, because I've only been in the hobby for 7-8 years.
It's not a short amount of time.
Well, no, but compared to like folks who've been doing it since the 80s, it's I don't have that wealth of experience to draw on. So I've always felt like I'm kind of learning along with everyone else, and the lessons I pick up along the way are hopefully useful to people. And yeah, it's just a really nice time.
Yeah, pretty sure there. I mean, you do make your arguments really well in your stream and your video, sorry, and in particular, for example, your video about Brindlewood Bay. I had never thought I would like to play a little old lady solving mysteries, but there you go.
Yeah, I've never seen a game before with such a strong premise. Like I can explain in exactly that length of time, sort of 2 seconds of here's what the game's about, here's what you do, let's go. If I try and explain, I don't know, I think the game I've been enjoying recently. Like if I try and explain the difference in like Daggerheart, if I want to get someone into that, I have to do a whole load of explaining, a whole load of figuring out. But the elevator pitch for Brindlewood Bay is, you're a little old lady solving crimes. Let's go.
Yeah, it's literally a 5-second pitch.
Yeah, and everyone gets so into it. Like the people that I've played with, mostly guys of my kind of age, there is almost like a fervor and excitement in just being little old lady solving crimes, which is just wonderful. And it's role playing. It's purist. It's people able to play a different role other than yourself.
Yeah, I mean that should be it should be the basis of role playing. Yeah, play something else.
Yeah, and while you might not have examples in your life of a tiefling barbarian who fights the demons of hell, you probably know some old people. You probably have people in your life who've maybe lived and had that experience, and you can bring some of that into a character. And it's just super interesting to me. Really, really enjoyed it, and the video was a lot of fun to make as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, between you and Salty Nick, you really got me interested in playing that game. But
yeah, we should play sometime.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Daggerheart, and I know that you also launched an actual play channel recently. I'm just going to drop the link to that in the chat as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So one of my little dreams that I had, almost like since I first started playing TTRPGs, was I'd love to kind of emulate the people I've seen online, so like Critical Role, Dimension 20. I'm also a big fan of High Rollers as well. I think they're streaming just now, but ours is nicer. Watch us first. But seeing these folk on screen playing the game and just having a lovely time together, that's something I sort of dreamed about doing when I started playing role-playing games. And then when I started the YouTube channel, I was like, oh, I wonder, could I make this happen? And a year or so later, having the opportunity to do that, gathering up gathering up friends and my sort of fellow TTRPG enthusiasts to getting around a table. What was fun for my first stream on there is that no one there is an experienced player at all. So I titled it, Running Daggerheart for Non-Nerds. Can this be a good system for complete newbies to the hobby? So I cheated a little because these are all my friends from my comedy improv classes. So they're already quite well primed, sort of not quite theatre kids, but not far off of having that enthusiasm, that energy, and really just relishing the role playing.
Yeah, I noticed that they really got into it.
Yeah, and just the enthusiasm they have for different sections is just a small spoiler, not really. But at one point of the game, there's they come across a mysterious orb, which when a character picks it up, it's meant to tell the cause of their death or give a vision of the future of the moment of their death. And because this was off a random table, it was off the Index Card RPG Bizarre Loot table. I thought, yeah, you guys just roll that. That'll be funny. And it always is. It's always a delight. But I thought, I can't think of 3 death scenes that quickly. So I just pulled it open to the rest of the players. I said, right, you, let's go think of one each. And the glee, the enthusiasm they had for going, oh, what can we do? What can we do to really cause chaos? It was so much fun to see. And I just sat there behind the GM screen, just smiling, just going, oh, it's a great day. Just having a lovely time. Oh, and Salty Nick's here. Hooray.
Yeah, and I see that Wii U 1.0, Mia Geeked, and Salty Nick joined us. Hi all. What a dramatically lit card. Yeah, actually, I finally replaced my improvised desk that I was using for crafting with a proper desk. So this lighting is kind of just, I put the lights wherever I thought they would fit. I'll be honest, lighting may look good, it's not working out great for me because between yesterday and today I already bumped my head on the light fitting about 5 times. So yeah, this will probably change around.
Yeah, I've gone for a painting, usefulness for painting lighting rather than for anything particularly like charismatically lit or anything like that. So I've got a light right above my head here, so I can actually see the minis. Because yeah, I'm slowly making my way through them. Actually, shout out to Salty Nick for because he's the one that sent me a whole care package of unpainted minis. This is my handiwork, which I shall zoom in on soon. And it's a whole load of minis, which I'm going to be painting in a bit, and including actually in his honor, we have Lucas Frost Jr., who have not started painting, but this was his character for our Index Card RPG campaign.
Oh, nice!
And yeah, I thought it'd be a nice one to do. It's also convenient because it's slightly larger. I think it's a 35 rather than a 28 mil scale.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, it does make it a bit easier. So yeah, it should be good fun.
Okay, so actually you can just jump into doing some painting, but before that I'm just going to drop the link to the community showcase on Discord. So if anyone has anything any pictures of their work they would like to share later on in the stream, I just left the Discord link. You can pop in some pictures, and we'll look at them before the stream ends.
Well, I'll jump to see if I got this set up. Is this going to work first time?
Whoop.
Oh, here we go.
Magic.
Oh, look how competent we are. That was smooth. Yeah.
It almost looks like we know what we're doing.
Oh, the other thing I can show off as well is for this brief shining moment in time, all of my paints fit in this little tub.
Oh, okay.
So on your suggestion, Karl, this is a whole load of acrylics, and they are very, very nice. There's lots of standard color ones, but there's also like fluorescent and shiny ones too.
Yeah.
So I had quite a lot of fun with just going a bit nuts with them. So it's maybe not the I don't know, because you also sent me a whole load of tutorials to different YouTubers and things who are obviously the experts at it. I was watching some of the Squidmar videos, and I was like, this guy, a different world of stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And yeah, I should do some painting. I've also got this one here. I don't think I can move it much closer to the camera, but this is Mini-Me. And you can maybe just see he's got the
stripes on the shirt.
Yeah, stripes on the top. Yep, that's my. So I've used him a few times as my big bad evil guy for quite a few sessions, and because I'm usually wearing this same T-shirt when I'm running a game. So like and you make your way into the into the darkened undercroft beneath the dread temple, and you see a figure hooded in black with rainbow stripes across their top. And yeah, put my hood up, put the mini in front of me, and it's a good time.
Yeah, full immersion, man.
Definitely.
Okay, now
Make
I've
some
got.
actual painting choices. Because I've
There you
also
go.
got these two, and just put them in front of camera. There we go. These two here are I think they're sort of tribal or Highlander ones,
Okay.
and I started doing sort of cloaks for them. The color balance not the best. These are green cloaks on them. I was going to try and make them into kilts,
Okay.
actually.
Nice.
So fun thing in Scotland is all the different clans, all the different colors for kilts, and uh, my um my mum's side of the family is the McInnes is the family name, and that has its own tartan, which includes well, it's that sort of flat green to start with, and it's got red and black and yellow other colors on that.
Okay.
So I was gonna try some of that. That'd be some good challenging detailed painting there to do that. I've also got this big ogre dude as well, and this
Okay.
is in case I don't feel like doing anything too detailed, and can do something do some nice base colors and stuff. So that's just been undercoated with a spray coat on him, and he is ready to rock. But yeah, I was learning about zenithal lighting as well, zenithal
Genital highlighting.
undercoats. Yeah, so like everything top down like that.
Hmm.
And my sort of experience with painting is, well, Warhammer when I was a kid. So I think it was maybe 15, 16 when I stopped painting them.
Hmm.
And I'd never heard any of those words back then. I think I'd heard of dry brushing and washes, and that was the limit of the pro tips. And I remember sort of seeing in the White Dwarf magazine these obviously beautiful minis and going, "Well, I'm doing all these things. I wonder why. I wonder why it's not working." And coming back into it now and hearing about wet palettes and hearing about all these sort of clever techniques and all this other stuff, it's so cool to see like just all the stuff that's possible. That was pre-YouTube then as well. So if I'd wanted to find out some of these things, there'd be no easy way of doing that apart from maybe going to my friendly local gaming store.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
I mean, I
but yeah,
remember I took about I want to say a 10-year break in hobbying, and when I came back, there was all these other new techniques, and I was like, "Wow!" But yeah, I do have this batch of Dwarf Warriors that I bought sometime around 20 years ago, I want to say. Games Workshop. They're Zenithal highlighted, like you said.
Mhm. Very nice.
I mean, the reason I do this Zenithal Prime isn't so much to have a Zenithal Prime. It's not like I'm using speed paints or stuff, which would make it much easier. Mostly it's that so I can see the details a bit more easily, because I'm just literally going to paint all over this. So it's just literally to help me spot details and see stuff like, for example, if there are any mold lines or things, makes it that much easier to get rid of them. Okay. Also, I know you're still young, but paint handles, man.
You
Paint handles. You want
paint
to start
handles.
using paint handles.
I really do. I did try and make a little clamp arrangement, but I found that wasn't very flexible. So I was looking to getting some. I've got some blue tack and a spare box I could use.
That works. I mean, this is just a piece of broomstick cut to size.
Cool.
Okay, this particular one has a magnet epoxy to the bottom,
Mm.
and the rest, the miniature is just holding on with blue tack. But
Very nice.
it makes a massive difference. If I don't do that, but my hands cramp up in 30, 40 minutes.
Mm.
Plus,
That's good to know.
uh, with a holder like this, again, more magnets.
Mhm. Nice. Oh, very cool.
Just so satisfying.
I love it. Oh, Bombardier is here. Hooray.
Hello, Bambariri. Good to see you.
What am I
So,
going to
yeah.
paint first? I'm going to get some brown. Do some brown painting. Got some raw sienna. I'm going to do nice, straightforward wooden base of Lucas Frost Jr. It's an easy start. Do you have a preference, actually, Carl, on do you prefer sort of doing bases first and then the mini, or?
I almost always do the mini first, and then I leave the base to last.
Okay. I don't know if I've got a preference. I don't trust my accuracy is part of the trouble.
Really?
Like if I'm doing something very, say like something like a base where I use like a large brush and things, I'm really sort of paranoid that I'll just slip in and get a huge chunk of brown in this case on yeah, get a pile of brown on the rest of the mini. So
I
I
see
don't know if
what you
there's
mean. Okay.
if in terms of like stuff like obviously large detail to small detail.
Uh, it's not that much of a problem usually because what I do is I'll paint a batch of miniatures. Then I'll for basing, what I do is I use this forbidden chocolate. Basically, it's dirt, tiny amount of sand, tiny amount of plaster, water, and PVA glue. So it's basically this little earth-colored mess.
Oh, nice.
And you can position that very easily. And it's not like paint. If you get some on the miniature, just get a wet brush and wipe it off real quick.
Here we go. So even like the basics of getting enough paint onto the brush, I'm still like not. I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge. I don't feel I'm good at it yet. So I'm actually changing my mind. I'm going to start with his face. I'm going to do a base coat on the face of our boy Lucas Frost. So I'm going to do the raw sienna and then build up from that.
Okay, now that Rosiana is a perfectly good way to start. But for skin, for example, recently I've started using this. It's super counterintuitive, but you start with purple. Do the
With
highlights
which
with
color? Sorry.
for faces and skin. Basically, start with a base coat of purple.
Oh, purple.
Then
Okay.
then you cover the highlights with green and the brightest highlights with yellow. And then you
Nice.
wash on top of that and with basically a brown glaze, and then you just go in with some ivory. For skin, it comes out really well, but again, you might want to practice that on a model you're not very keen on, or a model you can you don't worry about messing up.
Well, I'll do that with the rest of the party. But yeah, a lovely story behind that game. That was my index card RPG campaign. That was a 10-shot, which was only meant to be a one-shot. But the way that came about is I'd been running the channel for a few months, and I realized that I wasn't actually running many TTRPGs. I was spending much more time making videos than actually enjoying and playing the game and the hobby that I actually love so much.
Okay.
So I put out a YouTube video, just said, "Hey, I want to play with you," and which is a risk. It's definitely a risk.
Yeah.
And so I said, "Well, I'm going to run one shots in some different systems." So I did D&D. I did Daggerheart because that was just in playtest time, just then, just coming out. I did Dungeon Crawl Classics and Index Card RPG, and the Index Card RPG one, it was an unreasonable amount of fun. And that's when I first met the legend of Salty Nick, actually. He was one of the ones who, sort of saw the video, jumped on my Discord server that I'd just started, and that became the basis of, the start of that party. And what started as a one shot, I was like, yeah, we'll do one session, see how it goes, see if it's fun. And yeah, we had an unreasonable, I think it was everyone's term, an unreasonable amount of fun in that session. So I was like, you know what, should we do a 10-shot? And it immediately grew the arms and legs and tentacles and became a much bigger thing than it could have been otherwise. And to celebrate, we everyone went onto Hero Forge, got and did the actually got the STL files, which then Salty Nick has 3D printed really
Nice.
well. So he's done such a good job on these resin printed, and I'm not so into that. I understand the terminology on that one, but really high quality. They've come out super well. So I was hoping to get good enough at painting to be able to send them back to him and to the rest of the group and say, "Hey, here's our characters at last." But I didn't really want to start on these ones until I'd at least got like some of the basics right. So it's
Yeah,
taken
I
a little while, and
get
there's
what you
been
mean.
some false starts, and there's a couple of models. I don't think there's any really bad models, but there's some I'm like, yeah, I'm not very happy with those. But now I feel I'm at a stage I can at least do the, if not do them justice, at least it will look decent, competent, and I know what needs time spent on it in order to make them look at least up to a standard that I like, which may not be the standard of the shiny YouTubers that win sort of the golden demons and things.
Yeah, but
But
that's a
yeah.
different that's a different game entirely. I
Mm.
mean, like,
Oh yeah. Well, there's a term. There's a term you used. It was like sort of. Was it neat from 5 feet or something?
I think that's actually campaign terms term. It's like 3 foot fabulous or something like that. I
Oh,
forgot the.
nice. I like that. Because yeah, I obviously want to do these as well as I can, but I sent you a picture of just how many of them I've got now. So
Yeah,
I picked up a couple more packs and things like, okay, there's like 200 minis here. This is not something where every single one is going to get the absolute star treatment, I'm afraid.
I
So
mean, look, by definition, all your work cannot be your best work.
true, and it's much better to like just start, just get on with it,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
and if the first 50 of them are terrible, well, the next 50 will be less terrible. But if I just sit there waiting, and go, ooh, maybe one day I'll be good at this. That's no, that's
Yeah, I
no way to
mean,
live. So
without
yeah,
practice, you're
just
not getting
start,
anywhere.
yeah, just begin and see how it goes. With the acceptance that the first ones are terrible, and if they'll go super wrong, I'll ask him really nicely if he can just send me some more.
Yeah, I mean, basically, what most people do is if they're really unhappy with if they're really unhappy with the paint job, they can just strip off the paint, no problem.
Hmm.
If you're using really thin layers, you can even just paint over it usually.
I mean, some of my very early ones, I think I hadn't even learned the lesson of. I hadn't even learned the lesson of sort of very thin layers. There's a couple of like blob monsters that might be a bit beyond repair. Fortunately, the minis were blob monsters, so it was fine. But looking back at the colors, I'm like, yeah, they're not the best.
The thing is that, for example, if you have a metal miniature, you can just dunk it in Dettol, for example, for a few days, and the paint will come off. Don't try that with.
It was a good testament to the ability of of that for
Oh yeah.
removing stains and dirt and things. That's genuinely impressive.
No, the only problem is that it will damage plastic miniatures.
Ah,
So I haven't actually found. I know there's some stuff in the UK like the US, sorry, like simple green and stuff like that, but I haven't found an equivalent on the side of the pond.
here's a question for you.
Shoot.
How do you when you make a mistake, say you like I'm doing this now, I've just painted on something, thought, I've gone slightly on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone out of the lines or like painted just off the edge that I'd planned to. How do you resolve that? What do you do to sort of make things right again?
Okay, so let's say that, for example, okay, I got some paint on this guy's arm. I don't know what it shows. See there? Well, easiest way is really quickly get a wet brush and splooge it off.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I think that's one of the tips I think I've heard before, but I've not actually. I'm actually in a good position now because I've got all my brushes right next to me. So in case of emergency, just dip it in and.
Okay, the other thing is that do you really need to worry about it? For example, if it's still an unpainted surface, you're just going to paint over it later. That's fine.
Yeah, true. I suppose the trouble would come when you're sort of building up and you're on sort of layer 7 out of 10 of trying to get the colors exactly as you like. But
that's another thing.
Not a problem for me just yet. Yeah.
That's another reason why you should really dilute your paint so that they're pretty thin, because then you can take them very very easily.
True.
If you've got a thick blob, it's not going to come off. Okay, and also Cross is saying that it's not his term, but I can't take it. Cross, we're just going to give you credit anyway. So
from table height.
How did you decide to get into dungeon tubing?
So it started, let's see, end of 2023. I
Mm-hmm.
was so with my job at the time, I find myself doing a lot more presentations, a lot more having to do public speaking, talking to camera a bit as well.
Okay.
I'll say so. I worked for a civil engineering company
Oh,
and
nice.
was doing a lot of that kind of thing. And I realized I just felt I was really bad at it. So with all of the confidence and hubris of a straight white male in his 30s, I thought, yeah, I'll try a YouTube channel. That sounds easy.
Yeah, famous last words.
uh, yes, the first video does still exist, but it's very much unlisted. It's quite hard to find now. Only select company get to see that one. But my idea was that I'd just talk about all the different things that interest me.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk about TTRPGs. I played in bands in a past life as well,
Oh,
so I was
nice.
going to talk about music. I was going to talk a bit about politics. I did a few videos on that. One of them kind of blew up a bit, and I was like, I can't be doing this. This is exhausting.
Mm,
So
all right.
yeah, so got so I took that one down eventually again. And the last one. So also I tried to make a computer game in my spare time a
Oh,
little while back too, which
okay.
was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. The game is never ever got finished, never ever got done, but the experience of that was great. And I thought I'll do a couple of videos just talking about that. Um, and what I learned immediately is that YouTube does not like it if you try and talk about one thing. So there's hardly anyone with that same crossover of hobbies and interests
Ah,
and
you mean
stuff.
it doesn't like it if you talk about more than one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to talking about politics, talking about music, talking about TTRPGs. There's one there's one person I think who has stuck with me through all of that. That is Age of Adventure. Who, if you come across this, I love you so much. Who's came across I think the politics video first, then the dungeon tubing stuff, and said, "Oh, I love that kind of music and I love those love computer games and things too."
All right.
And so for that one person, best YouTube channel ever. But for the algorithm and for everything else, it did not like it. It got very confused, and yeah, I realized pretty quickly on that that wasn't going to be if I wanted to like grow the channel, and actually sort of like get better at it. Then picking one was the smarter, very much a smarter approach. And so I looked at the numbers of which ones are doing well, and thinking about well, what could I actually say something interesting, and what do I feel I could add my voice to? And dungeon tubing one very much won out, in part because one of the first videos I did was one called Running D&D for Non-Nerds,
Mm-hmm.
where I was talking about how I'd actually run some games for my work. So they're having like a January social kind of thing. And I was like, well, what could we do that's going to be fun for folks? It doesn't involve alcohol because it was January. And I said, yeah, I'll run a game of D&D for people. And it went really well. It was a ton of fun. And just sort of that video, just documenting my experience, how I got on with that, was one of the first videos I put up. And yeah, got a good reception. Oddly, I think it's still my most watched one,
Okay.
but I don't know if it's just YouTube decided, ooh, let's give this new person a bit of love or what happened there. But based on that video, I was like, oh, okay, there seems to be something to this, and decided then to focus. So changed the channel name and called it Renegade Rolls. I do like my alliteration.
What was it
And
called before that?
so it was Project Skythorn before that,
Ooh.
which I know has a cool name, which is actually the name of a hill near my parents' house.
All right.
It's not a very exciting hill, but the name's super evocative. It's a
Oh yeah.
really nice sounding name. And so I had that name for a while. It's not a bad band name either. And that was sort of a moniker to put everything under. But then from that, yeah, so ditched the other side of the channel, converted it to just be about TTRPGs, and have been going ever since. Though what's interesting is that as of exactly 24 hours time, that Skythorn name is going to come back again,
Oh, okay.
because I'm actually launching my own business. So
Oh,
having a
congratulations.
nice bit of downtime just now, painting some minis with you. It's a nice change from setting all of that up. So yeah, been through redundancy with my old job, which is sad because I've been there for 13 years.
Oh, well.
But
Okay.
the upshot was, yeah, in the UK anyway, we get there's yeah minimum payouts and things. So it was the way it's working is that I've effectively got time to like set something up for myself. I've got like maybe 6 months grace in terms of before I'd actually have to start looking for a normal job. But in the meantime, I thought, well, I'm just going to try and do the same stuff that I had been doing for my day job, but do it for myself. See if I can actually make it happen. So yeah, Skythorn Studios technical visualization launches tomorrow. You heard it
Ooh,
here
exciting.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, man. Yeah, seriously.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, interesting times there. But the YouTube stuff and everything else I'm doing in my life, I've, I've probably got more time to do that. Actually, I might have more time for more videos and more TTRPG things.
Really?
But
How does this
that
work out?
maybe we'll see. Because there's a ton of crossover. Because the things that I'm doing for the business, it's technical visualization. So it's effectively making videos. So taking engineering projects and putting them into, so if I've got a 3D model, bring it into
Mm-hmm.
computer game software like Unreal Engine is my software of choice for that. And basically helping engineers show off. That's one of my taglines.
Ooh, okay.
So
Yeah.
like before, it was like before and after, and construction phasing, and answering the question of, well, how will this look from my house? Uh, so there's definitely synergies and crossovers and all of that stuff.
So
And
basically, you're making videos is like practice for the actual work kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, interesting times there. And I'm really excited about it as well. Like genuinely, like proper excitement to see what happens. See if I can actually make a go of it, and see where it goes. Um, but in the meantime, a nice night off because pretty much everything's done. I've got my show reel ready. The website is in the hands of professionals, not me, which I'm happy about. and, and we shall see where it goes from there. All right, that is One Face and Hands of Lucas Frost Jr.
Okay, slightly lower.
Complete. That's going to be way out of focus and blurry, but and that's just one coat of the sienna.
Okay.
So I shall go over it again in a minute. But there's some really nice details on here. I'm hoping to sort of maintain that. One of my big mistakes when I started was I was like, my paint's too thin, and then realizing no, it's fine because it looks nicer next time round. And I was going to make a start as well on this big boy. The
Oh,
I think he's an
chunky.
ogre. Yeah, one
Yeah,
chunky boy.
looks like an ogre. Could be an ogre.
Yeah, yeah. There's still some bits of sprue on him. I don't know what color to do him actually. That's my first question. He almost looks it'd be quite cool as like almost like a frost giant. So I think I'm doing in sort of blues and purples rather than sort of fleshy human skin tones.
I mean, you could do both. Just go for more blue in the shadow areas.
Mm. So okay, but with that in mind, then it's probably a blue for a base coat, and then painting on fleshy colors over that, or
Mm,
a bit of blue wash potentially.
what I would do is go for a paint it like you're painting a normal flesh tone, and then go for a very light blue wash in the shadow areas at the end of it. So
Oh,
it's
so it's like a glaze. Sorry,
more
yeah.
of a glaze, yeah.
Mhm.
So, Rich, from what I understand, you have this seem to have your thing seems to be teaching role playing games to new groups of people.
Yeah, it's something. It's one of my favorite parts of the hobby, actually. Is so I run a lot of games for like open tables, either conventions or my local sort of nerdy hangout space. There's a place called the Gamer Club in Glasgow, and there's a lot of open tables, often D&D. But I've started running just different TTRPGs, including that game of Brindlewood Bay where everyone showed up and it was chaos.
How many people? How many players was that?
That was 10, and the book says no more than 4. But we did it anyway, and it was an absolute delight. With a couple of folk brand new to the hobby again, but yeah, I really enjoy seeing people come to the hobby for the first time and just sort of get it. And when you've got no preconceptions or you're not sure what your character should do, but I really like giving people the opportunity to just start and see see what happens. My favorite story, which I seem to change the story every time, but the core of it's the same. I had a brand new player playing D&D, and we were fighting against. I think I'd set them up against some lava goblins or something, or little fire spirit demon things. It was a goblin stat block, but they could set you on fire when they died. But they had a new player who was looking at his character sheet and had said previously, "Oh yeah, just anything on your character sheet, that'll be fine." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to use my bedroll." What? Yeah, I'm going to use my bedroll. And so I'm going to pick it up, going to put it over its head, and put him out. And obviously, there's no weapon attack number for that. There's no skill on the thing to use. But every fiber of my sort of GM brain knew, I love this. I have to say yes to this. This is amazing. And so I think I did make him roll for it, but with like huge advantage. Rolled a natural 20 and said, "Yep, you put him out." He was like, "Ah!" And then a little hissing sizzle sound as the fire within it dies out. And I think it gave him inspiration as well, just because.
Yeah, I think they earned it.
Massively. But I don't think an experienced player, certainly not one who maybe plays the more strategic, tactical kind of games, would have thought to do that.
Probably
Would have
not.
decided
Yeah.
to make that choice. And yeah, seeing people just being entirely unfiltered, unfettered, and having the ability to do that is very, very cool. And then hopefully teaching people good habits as well. Teaching people good habits is nice. So things like it's not even a house rule, it's just something I insist on, is that, hey, if someone crits, we all go crazy. I want to see whooping, cheering, I want to see high fives. And really encourage that collaborative side of the game.
I think
Because
that
it's really
happens.
not the game for edgy loners.
No, yeah, absolutely not. But yeah, I mean, it's not about culture of play because new people don't have this kind of the game should be played in this way kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm. And I think as more people come to the hobby, I think we're going to see more and more of that different cultures of play emerging.
True, yeah, and it depends on which ones are cultivated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a way, that's one of the. No, please go on.
Obviously, the history of the hobby go back 50 years, back to those games like Chainmail and the sort of medieval war games kind of things. Well, that's one method of play. But then you've got people coming to the hobby now through, I don't know if they've watched Critical Role, or like I was saying, like theatre kids and stuff. Having people who are maybe not as interested in the strategy and the tactics, but are there for the story. That's a very different experience. And I love that the hobby is big enough and wide enough that it can accommodate everyone. Sometimes at the same table. If it happens at the same table, then even better. But obviously, it's a challenge to make sure everyone gets their kick, gets the stuff that they want out of it. Although I do think that the thing that's unique about TTRPGs probably isn't so much the tactics and strategy. If I want that part of play, I can get that from a computer game, or I can get that from a board game,
or a war game, or what have you.
Yeah. The stuff that I think is unique to the hobby is that uncertain, improvised, collaborative storytelling. But I still like the dice and the mechanics and stuff, because I started doing improv courses last year. So when I started the channel, I set up a little series of videos saying, was it 12 steps to be a better game master?
Take up improv.
Yeah. And that's one of the big recommendations lots of people say is, take up improv and learn about just reacting to things. And because when you do that, everything about running a game gets easier.
I don't know. I mean, like it makes sense. It just sounds like kind of a massive commitment kind of thing. It's more like it's something.
Yeah, well, when I started, I was like, oh yeah, I'll go to a beginner's course. I'll go along for a few sessions. Immediately, my brain went, nope, I love this. This is my life now. And so it's immediately 3 days a week of doing that kind of thing. But it's wonderful, and the people I've met along the way with that are also quite a lot of them are into TTRPGs as well. So I can actually combine the two wonderfully. So one of the things I'm aiming for with the Actual Play YouTube channel is to bring in improvisers, comedians, and actors into this world some more
Okay.
and see what the crossovers are. Because much as I love my regular nerdy friends, there's something about the ability to be bright and sparky and quick on camera, which yeah, most people don't have. And it's maybe not the best TV watching
I would imagine
watching
it.
me and my nerdy friends play, but getting the improv folks around the table and having just that big energy of saying, hey, because it's a different form of play than a regular game session. It's a performance, and you see
Hmm.
Dimension 20 Critical Role, they perform TTRPGs.
Uh,
They're not playing in the same way as you and your friends might do on a Saturday night.
like you're performing for an audience who's not part of the table is
Mhm.
the kind of thing. I was actually going to ask you how does it feel very different? I don't know if you've played, but you've run the game. Does it feel different running a game in that kind of setting?
A little. I think my trouble's been so far that I don't have a tech working with me yet. I need if anyone in Glasgow enjoys TTRPGs but doesn't want to be in front of the camera, let me know because I would love to have someone who's able to look after the audio and visual side. But when I was running that first game, I was so stressed about is that camera in focus?
You were
Are the
juggling
lights on?
everything.
Is it recording? Plus then doing
Oh, good
all
lord.
the stuff for running the game itself. And the thing is, I'm actually really proud of how that one came out because everything went right. And I think I probably didn't game master maybe as well as I could have done. I'd say it's maybe a 6 out of 10 on where I think my games can be. But I'm really proud of what went out, especially as I was running on about 3 hours sleep because I was just too excited the night before. Didn't sleep very well. um, but yeah, that session it felt pretty similar because once we started playing, there was nothing else I could do about the lights, camera, action of it.
Hmm.
It was just making the game as fun as it could be. And I've not actually watched huge amounts of actual plays, and like I've not made my way through all of Critical Role as my life's too short, sadly. And starting now is such a big backlog that would take about a decade of my life, I think. Uh,
I'll be honest, I only caught up with the animated series. I've no interest in watching the entire show.
mhm. I enjoyed the animated series.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty
that was
good.
good fun. Yeah. Let's see. What color would you recommend then for a base coat for what I think is going to be an ice troll or something? Snow giant, something like that. You were saying just do it as a regular skin color and then
If you're going to do
then
like,
do a wash. Yeah.
it depends. If you're going for like a human skin but in a cold environment, just paint as regular human skin and then go for that blue glaze at the end. If you're going to make it like a snow creature or something, then like I don't know, ice giant or something like that. What I would do is start with a dark blue, and then just dry brush, keep dry brushing lighter blues on top of that.
Mm.
So it depends on what you want the finished result to be.
Yeah, I think definitely more of the blue. Maybe bits of sort of flesh tone coming through a little, but not much in comparison.
Yeah, in that case, possibly starting with a blue base coat and then just dry brushing the other colors on top. So you just leave the darkest blue in recesses.
Let's see. You are turquoise blue. You're probably too bright for this. Because it's got a grey base coat, so it's going to be quite bright to start with. So let's see if we've got a darker blue. You, cerulean blue. That sounds nice. What do you look like? Ooh, still quite bright. I know the color grading's not right at all on here, but
Yeah, I think it's very close to cyan, I think.
try some of that.
Now, if you want to darken it up, you might mix it with another color. Not with black. Okay.
That's one of my many mistakes is mixing with black and then wondering why everything's desaturated and shades of grey.
I mean, mixing with black is a choice. It's if you're intentionally going for a desaturated kind of thing, but it should, in general, should not be the thing. Let's see. For darker blue, I think it would go.
Got ultramarine, dark ultramarine blue. That'll do. Ooh, yeah, that's a good color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's it feels like a quite strong dark color. Well, that should be good.
No, I think if you want to darken blue, you might want to go. Could go with a tiny amount of purple. But the problem with that is that it would introduce red into the mix, which is a warm color. It's the different kind of look from what you're going for.
Right, some of my ultramarine blue. See how that goes. But because I'm following your advice and doing thin layers, we should be fine. I'm smart. I'll do this actually so you can see it on the camera. That was my mistake doing that earlier. Yeah, that looks nice. I'm liking that. But even some absolute fundamentals like pull the brush towards you. I hadn't realized as like a real sort of core like beginner kind of thing, like for doing especially like detail work and things, rather than like going rather than going like side to side.
Wait, are you base coating with that brush?
Yes.
What size is that?
That is the Army Painter standard Kolinsky Masterclass. Apparently, it's a standard size one. I do have some larger ones actually. I've got a huge, I've got a Wargamer Monster one. I've got, but it doesn't actually. Don't know what sizes are on here.
Okay, so typically, especially when you're base coating, you want to go with. Let me. You always want to use the largest brush you can comfortably use.
Yep. So I was using this black one, and I've got this white one, which is a good bit larger.
So let's see.
I've got a in between one as well.
This is the one I'm using right now.
All right, nice.
So it is pretty large, but it holds paint better. It flows better, and besides, if you're using a tiny brush, especially for base coating large areas, what you're going to get is a ton of brush marks.
Say that again, sorry?
If you use a tiny brush to base coat a large area, what you're going to get are a lot of tiny brush marks.
Ah, true.
So ideally,
so I've got my Army Painter Regiment brush might be a better fit. It's probably not the monster size one.
Yeah, I mean, again, always go for the biggest, even if you're doing detail work. There are times when you want to switch out. I think the tiniest one I have is this one. Yeah, absolutely. So this is an Army Painter Insane Detail brush, which is.
Oh, I broke that one. I didn't mean to, but I pulled off the I pulled off the cap and it was stuck, and the whole head of it came away. I do still have my Psycho brush, Wargamer the Psycho, which is kind of ridiculous.
Good luck getting this to focus. The reason it's still the reason it's still okay is because I've used it like maybe 5 times in 4 years.
Yeah, I see the advice tends to be, a larger brush with a sharp tip will get you virtually everything you need.
Yeah. And I mean, a discussion of taking care of the brush and everything, but.
See, actually, can you see on good cam? No, I'll switch myself to good camera so I can see the. There we go. So yeah, one pretty sharp point on this one still.
Yep.
And that one. That's wrong view. I can. Hey. But yeah, that point earlier about bringing beginners to the hobby and the different sort of backgrounds and ways of thinking that different people have. It's hard to say because we're not. it's not really in a explosion time in terms of new people finding the hobby. Do you think? I know things like sort of Stranger Things and stuff is helping a bit just now. There's a big new series coming out.
I think it's on the downturn though. It's like I think 2020 was the big thing for it because hey, you have to sit down
no
and
choice,
stay inside. Yeah.
So unless there's suddenly like a I don't know, nuclear winter or solar eclipse, then, which I wouldn't wish for either because
Yeah,
it's such
me neither.
world-changing problems. But
It's nice. It's nice to be able to go outside.
yes, I very much enjoy it. But I think it seems that the health within the hobby is good. It's just people coming to the hobby. Maybe not as many people are hearing about it organically as they were a few years back.
But I think it's a question of it comes and goes in cycles, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I know there's all the like edition wars and stuff. Like, what was your first Dungeons and Dragons edition?
AD&D second edition.
Was that the red box? No, I'm mixing up.
No,
I need to learn my history better.
It's much later than that. I started playing in the late 90s, mid to late 90s.
So one thing I have picked up is a friend found me a red box in a charity shop.
Oh, nice.
And but one of the things I'm going to do soon is answer the question: can you dungeon crawl in Daggerheart? So I've got the Keep on the Borderlands book, and I'm going to see what happens if you run that in Daggerheart. So that's what I was doing earlier today. Actually, my friends in Definitely Not Goblins, who are an actual play live show. They play in Glasgow. Well, play across Scotland these days. They're going to be my guest players for that, and we're going to find out. Yeah, can you dungeon crawl? I don't know. I do not know if you can dungeon crawl in Daggerheart, but I've got Keep on the Borderlands. They've made characters. I'm going to put through that, and I'm really curious to see how that goes, because it's a system which, when you hear about it, it's all about the narrative and the role play. But will it handle the gritty chunkiness of sort of fighting your way through a gridded environment?
I'll be honest. I don't think it's really. You can probably do it. It's just like it's probably not designed for that. It's not going to.
Yeah, it depends. I think it depends on the experience that you're looking for. And I know those players, they could have fun with a bit of string. I'm not worried about it being fun for them. I want to see how the system holds up to what basically will be, because I think we're going to do it over 3 sessions, 10 hours of mostly combat.
What? That's 10 hours total, right?
Yeah. So yeah, 3 sessions, not all in one.
Okay. Okay. So it's.
I mean,
okay. That makes more
I'm sure
sense.
they'll be fine. I'm sure they've got the endurance to handle that. They're seasoned professionals, but yeah. And will we find that there's something missing because of it? Are we missing the tactical nuance of something like D&D, which obviously that's where it's.
Okay, I'm just going to read Cross's comment first because this is good. My first edition of D&D wasn't an edition; it was the only one there was.
Nice.
Yeah, Cross is the OG gamer.
Fantastic.
So
I always have like a million questions for people who've like been around since the start of the hobby. I think it's just because my experience coming into it was it's very much an established thing. I can learn everything I want to from just online on YouTube. But like I was saying with trying to paint minis 20 years ago, I had no clue what I was doing. Doing my best, but I didn't know about all of the sort of best practices and the things that other people were doing. I've just sort of existed very much in my own little bubble. Sort of me and my brother sort of played together when we were first got into doing Warhammer and painting minis and things. But we didn't really know anyone else who was into it. And and there was like no wise people to ask.
Yeah,
So we just kind of made it up, made it up as we went along. And
I was lucky to find a wargaming club when I had started, and there were some older guys who were really, oh yeah, sit down, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about painting. That kind of thing.
nice. But yeah, playing it sort of in that original state where it really was just you and your friends, and if you wanted to learn more about it, there's no way of having a conversation, I suppose, because I know it was like Dragon Magazine and stuff was the
Yeah, I mean, like the internet really changed up everything with regards to these hobbies. You wouldn't think so much, but yeah, just the ability to get the information across and out has literally changed everything.
mostly for the better. I like to think for the better.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
so many of my friends live on the internet that
I
I
mean,
think on balance, it's a good thing.
I don't really see many downsides. I mean, there are some people who have opinions that stuff, but you don't need to listen to them.
Yeah, exactly. I do like reminding. Yeah, so I'm not that young. Like I do remember when the internet used to scream when you turned it on. So that dial-up broadband tone, which I hope my noise suppression will kick out by going. And yeah, fond memories, good times.
I remember that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, loosely collected is saying campaign terrain. I had the red box that said Dungeons and Dragons on it. Still my favorite Larry Elmore piece. I think there was a kind of a call it a controversy about that last year or something. People were saying, but was that a man or a woman on the cover?
Does it matter? Is my first.
Yeah, my first question was, does it matter? The second question was answered by Larry Elmore, who said, like, my dudes, you know how I paint women. If that was a woman, you would know. Which, to be fair, he's right.
It's one of the few things I will be changing in the Keep on the Borderlands. It's not really a spoiler because it's quite a well-known thing. There is a encounter with a Medusa in one of the last rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about it is that she is described in a completely different way to any of the other characters who are mentioned. Like she's the only one who's mentioned in terms of like physicality and things.
Right.
In fact, 2 secs. Grab the. I'll read this. I'll read the section out, and we can. You will see exactly what I mean. Yeah, this section will be one that's I will change. You'll see why in a second.
Good.
Let's see. Room 64, a cell. The door is of iron, locked and barred, but a window is set in the door. This is a place where prisoners are kept until tortured to death or sacrificed in the area above. There are several skeletons still chained to the wall, and one scantily clad female, a fair maiden, obviously in need of rescuing. As she is partly around the corner, at first only her shapely legs and body up to the shoulders can be seen.
Okay,
Those who enter and approach closer are in for a rude shock. This is actually Medusa, recently taken in by the evil priest zombie guards. Yeah.
Okay, that needs 70s porn music to it.
Yeah, but very much written for that male gaze, I think is the the terminology there. Yeah.
Remember that the first Dungeon Master's Guide had a table of synonyms for hookers?
Really? I didn't know that. Oh dear. But I'm very happy that the hobby is becoming broader and more diverse. That's the can only be a good thing. But I do think things are definitely getting better. It's when you consider where things started. But I like to think that people would just sort of picked and chose the things that they wanted.
I would imagine so, because
yeah,
I would think so, because look, talking about the hobby becoming more inclusive, I think the hobby was never exclusive. You always had women playing. You always had pretty much everyone playing. Maybe not in massive proportions, but look, in most cases, you find a place at the table, you have dice, you play. End of story. Doesn't matter who, what you are, whatever. The published material, yeah, that's.
Yeah, and the publishing material does inform the culture around it, and if that's your first exposure to it, you might not. Yeah, you might not want to go back. But yeah, it's hopefully. I mean, even just having more diverse writing teams is a big help. When people are writing about their own experiences or writing about characters that they identify with. So I don't know. Have you met VJ? VJ Harris wrote An Elf and an Orc Had a Baby.
I have not, no. I mean, I think I talked to him on Discord, but we haven't talked much in speech, I mean.
We were on a hangout together. It was a couple of days ago, and he also worked on a book. Oh, no, he didn't. It was a colleague of his. The co-writer on An Elf and an Orc Had a Little Baby is Adam Hancock, who worked on a book called The Demiverse, which was I was really excited. He was actually the first person I interviewed for this channel. I was really excited. But he was speaking just about how important having a diverse writing cast was for him. So he managed to track down, like, spoke to writers, authors, illustrators from around the world of like as many different cultures and backgrounds and sort of lived experiences as possible. And the game feels so much more. I was going to use the word exotic, but that's not quite right. It feels so much bigger, I think, because of that.
I think in most cases, I'll be honest, whenever I hear our game has so much diversity, I'm always like, oh, because it's like, I mean, in most cases, what they mean is, look, we have made this so beige that no one will be offended by this. We have included everything, whether it makes sense or not. But yeah,
this is one of the fun criticisms of, the thing with orcs, with orcs being a playable race in D&D now, and what are monsters? What's a monstrous creature or not? And people said, "Oh, you're just doing that because you don't want to offend people." Or, but I want to play an orc. I want there to be savage orcs in the world, and now you've made them all just like you've made them just people with tusks on. And it's interesting. Like, what do we call monstrous? Because really, the question is, what can we attack and not feel bad about?
I find that kind of discussion a bit strange again, because again, it's like the diversity thing. It's like I was saying that bad diversity is like, okay, we're going to make everything the same and so on. Good diversity is, we've actually got different perspectives on things and various things. That's like the real way. There's nuance and there's changes. About what's a monster, I mean, what can we attack without feeling bad about it? Look, I mean, in most of my games, the monsters are humans.
Yeah, same.
So it's like,
yeah. And not in a humans bad, all the other species good kind of way.
no, it's like that particular individual is an asshole.
Yeah. There's plenty of inspiration for bad humans out there. I don't think we need to go looking too far to find it.
Besides, I mean, like again, going with different species. I remember there was an interview with Ed Greenwood, the guy who wrote the entire Forgotten Realms setting. And he was always asked, okay, how did you make the elves so interesting? How did you make them so so fleshed out? Guys, I just wrote humans and gave them pointy ears. It's that complicated.
Yeah.
You don't make them like, okay, they're elves, so they're good and nice and whatever. Just no. Go with human and exaggerate it.
Yep. Let's see. Get around bioessentialism and all that. If you're assuming that these creatures all participate in societies and stuff, then you kind of are already assumed a lot about them in terms of these are people with relatable human emotions in some ways. And it's like when people write aliens in sci-fi, and the Star Trek version of, okay, here's a person with some pointy ears tacked on. It's exactly the same in fantasy with things like elves and stuff. What's interesting is when you get some really alien aliens.
So we're talking stuff like what was that, the Abyss, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, was it
Or is that water
Contact
alien kind of thing?
Contact, Arrival? I think I get those two films mixed up, but like so clearly not human, with like different ways of understanding the universe. That's an interesting story, but trying to, anytime that you've got the word all for something is very, like, I don't know.
That's extremely reductionist.
Yeah. And if human cultures are anything to go by, then trying to describe, yes, all, I don't know, all people from Scotland are, I don't know, have bad teeth and are, I don't know, are tight with money, which are good stereotypes that we hear quite a lot. And clearly that's not true, but it can be a thing the culture is known for. But as soon as you start saying all, as soon as you start saying, yes, this is a standard trait or trope of these people, you're going to find yourself in difficulty.
I mean, the only place where I would consider that in a game is like not when you're explaining what that particular country or what that particular species or whatever is. It's more like what their species believe about it.
Yeah, and that's something really fun. I've recently started doing that for all kinds of things in my games, where rather than trying to do like sort of Wikipedia style world building of, yes, the city, this city has the exports of this and this, I'll say, well, what do the people of this part of the world think of them? And it'll be sort of lies and rumors and cliches and stuff. Like, I don't know, everyone thinks that people from this town are smelly, or that these people don't wash or something. And regardless if it's true, that's a rumor that you can have fun and play with. And so world building by hearsay, I think I've got a video in that. I think there'll be something interesting there.
Do
It'll be a lot of
it.
fun. Yeah. So I've got a really nice one. I've got a little pantheon that I made based on the Daggerheart. What are they called? I've got the name of them. The domains rather in Daggerheart. So there's 9 of those at least to start with. Some new ones coming as alpha content. But so I decided that this would be a polytheist, duotheist. So each person has 2 gods who aid their powers. So if I have the gods of, so if I have a seraph character, they have valor and splendor. Are their two domains? Well, they worship those 2 gods then. And so instead of saying, well, what are the powers and abilities of the god, I said, well, what do people say about them? How do people refer to those gods? Are there little phrases like, oh, you might say bless you when someone sneezes. So I wrote out a whole thing. So each of those gods has three little sayings,
All right.
which I'll find just now because it makes me happy. I've got them on screen here.
Yeah, bring them on.
And it also became quite fun world building as well. But I hope it loads. I've been having fun with Obsidian recently. That's my
It's such a great piece of software.
Yeah. The trouble is it's like catnip for me. My brain goes, ooh, I'll just do this and just do that, and it's 4 a.m. again. Here we go. So, for my god of Arcana, I made Aya. Is the god whose symbols a violet burst of energy, and the sayings about Aya are, let's see, close your eyes tight, see Aya's colors bright, and just like little aphorisms and sayings and rhymes and stuff. Things like, Cassir, god of codex. To know magics is to know Cassir. It ended up doing proper world building when I said, well, Yeah, my life for yours, as Vita for Kassir. Vita being the god of valor, so protecting
Okay.
others. And I don't have anything more written down than that. But at some point in this world's primordial history, Vita has clearly sacrificed himself for Kassir. And if people just have those sort of things in their head, it's much easier to remember stuff like that rather than, ah, yes, the exports of the city of Atterberg are stone and wheat and grains and magical items. That's
Kind
no
of
one's got.
dry and boring, and yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, yeah. But encouraging. So I have that stuff on my GM screen, and I'll give those to players as well, so they can just shout it out too. And it's much more about letting them live the experience of it, rather than me just telling them what could be a rather dry lore dump. So I'm always on the lookout for ways of letting people interact with the world building in more interesting ways. So I've got another one planned, another video in the works about sort of flashbacks, but to actually make them really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we we flash back to the last time you saw your brother, and it will be and we'll do like a combat scene or a social encounter as these other characters. So the
Okay.
one person having that flashback plays as themselves, and everyone else at the table basically takes on
But they're not just watching; they're still
yeah.
involved in the.
And
That's
so
good.
I'll say, okay, and I say in that moment, okay, I'm the gang leader. You're lucky number one. You're lucky number two. Let's go. And I say, no, you'll never see him again. Yeah, he didn't have the money in time, so he's ours now. It belongs to us. And works great with improv friends because they'll go, yeah, 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 you're right, boss. You show him. And if that turns into a fight, obviously it's a flashback, so we know the outcome. But everyone gets to play in that moment, and it's a much better way than saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, I've not seen my brother since I was 12 or something."
Makes sense.
And just as ways of yeah, bringing the world building to life.
I mean, one thing I like to include in my world building is usually festivals, holidays, and stuff like that. Just yeah, that the excuse to throw in some fun partying decoration stuff because it lets you put on some lore dump without making a lore dump, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think like festivals in our world are so important, and I think we don't celebrate nearly as many. I mean, I don't know, you've got fireworks going off, so maybe maybe it's a bad example, but certainly here there's not as many opportunities, or maybe festivals that aren't as markedly different from each other.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose the main one we'd have is, well, Halloween is definitely different in tone to say like Christmas or Easter, with like different traditions. So in Scotland, we have there's the tradition of guising, which
Was it?
kind of so that's basically, it became what trick or treat is now, but it was a Scottish tradition of guising, was
All right.
uh, going around houses, and yeah, I might not get this exactly right. I need to learn more of my own history, but yeah, but basically doing a turn for people, and that would be like singing a song or a poem or telling a story, often a scary story or something, in exchange for sweets. And
Okay.
that was sort of the original. That was the origins of, yeah, what is now trick or treat. It's still very much called guising here, but I'm not as sure on quite the origin of the tradition.
The thing is that again, in the real world, it's got uh, all these kinds of festivals have these strong community building things, which maybe not be that important in a game, but the again, for example, if you have the history of if you have the history of a festival, it's like, okay, why do we celebrate this? Because on so and so date this thing happened, and I don't know. Again, that's a lot of world building going on there.
Yeah, well, we've got, I suppose, another one in this country. We've got the 5th of November, for Guy Fawkes Night.
Yeah,
Have you seen V for Vendetta?
of course I
That's
have.
yeah. So yeah, that's a good one. And again, just a different tradition to sort of Christmas, sort of giving gifts and all the rest of it. There's very much a different feel about that.
Yeah, and again, you can also play the other way. It's like, why do we celebrate this festival? Because if we don't do these ceremonies, then a bad thing will happen.
Yeah, and in lots of get my terminology right. In lots of traditions, yeah, we do the midwinter festival so that summer will come again.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, and then obviously in a fantasy land, you say, well, okay, that's true. So let's now see the consequences of summer not coming again.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a good computer game I really enjoyed called Banner Saga, which is sort of this old, old sort of like Viking kind of thing. But the premise is that the sun has stopped in the sky, and no one's sure if it's because they didn't sing the songs or do the traditions
Oh, wow,
well
okay.
enough, or if there's like other stuff going on. But I really enjoy just the idea of that of the world being changed.
I mean, it is an amazing premise for a campaign.
Yeah, and so the actual gameplay is quite fun. It's a sort of a turn-based strategy kind of thing, along with so it's like two parts of it. There's like a battle map part, and then there's the sort of the adventure part
Okay.
where you're leading this long column of people, effectively refugees from their hometown across the ice to hopefully somewhere safe. But you're making all these like high level decisions, like should we stop for food and let the enemies catch us, or should we press on? And it's one of those games where there's no good answers. I think it's inspired by things like the Oregon Trail and
Oh, wow,
those
okay.
kind of games, which are just so bleak. I've made one blue boy. I'm just checking I've not missed anywhere. He's not very consistent color because I've only done one
Show
coat of
here.
him so far, but he's definitely getting there. It's quite a strong blue actually that's come out as well. But
Remember
it'd be
that
good
once you
to
start dry brushing over it, it's going to get toned down quite a bit.
Look up and I'll show the camera in a second.
Okay. So what I'm doing right now is because I'm a sucker for punishment. I'm just dry brushing the mail on these guys gray because I don't like using metallic paints.
Yeah, tell me why. Why don't you like metallics?
I think they come out too strong in most cases. It's like they can look good, but it's like they have the wrong vibe for me, kind of thing.
So do you prefer like sort of faking the reflections by highlights instead?
Yeah.
I suppose you could always just use gloss varnish at the end as well if you want to make them shiny. But if you're doing those highlights yourself, then
Yeah,
you've kind of already chosen a light source rather than.
I still use gloss varnish to protect the miniatures, but the reflections from a metallic surface wouldn't work the same way as a glossed up color.
Yeah, true. Okay, let's see. I'll put you here. One blue guy.
Hey, that's what I do.
The color grading on this camera is really not the best. I'll take some photos
Yeah, for sure.
after, but he's getting there. The temptation to sort of cover him head to toe was quite strong, but he's got this sort of he's got this large loincloth, which I'll probably do, and I'll probably keep that as a neutral, certainly not blue, but more neutral color. Do you plan your paint jobs particularly, or do you just pick and choose? Because I don't know what color I'm going to do, like the horn around his belt or this loincloth and things. I don't know what color his hair or his beard's going to be.
I generally not really a deep plan or anything, but it will usually know. It's more like I've got recipes. For example, if I paint horn in a certain way, I paint leather in a certain way. For example, usually boots, for example, is I'll usually go with a raw umber or a burnt umber, and then wash it with black, and then go in with some tiny highlights of the base color again. But I don't usually plan the color scheme so much. It's like what I will usually do is go with the largest block of color, and then I'm like, okay, I think this would look good, or I think this would look better. Just messing around until I figure out what I want.
Yeah. I read a blog. There was someone who was they take photos of all their minis unpainted and then just paint them in Photoshop first.
I mean, it is an option.
With all the color grading and stuff that you can do there, and then they just kind of copy it once it's.
It is an option. Just like since I'm in no rush, I prefer to do it by hand kind of thing. I enjoy the process of painting.
Yeah, same. My slight problem with it is that if I'm painting, I'm probably in the same creative space, or I've got time in my day where there's 100 other sort of creative projects I could be doing it instead. So making time to paint and like sitting and focusing on it, where it could be like, oh, I should be making some music, or it could be, I don't know, doing some script writing or something.
But it's always a question of
setting aside the time and knowing that, hey, I'm just going to do this for a couple of hours is really good. Though I'm deliberately trying to force myself to make more time, because I always enjoy the act of, like, the physical act of painting. But yeah, there's all the things around it, making the time to really focus. I maybe don't give it as much, which is how I've got a big pile of that photo of all the unpainted minis.
Like, dude, I told you.
Judging me from the shelf. I see them.
I bought these miniatures 20 years ago, give or take. So
I don't feel bad then. Thank you.
Not judging.
So why is it that now you're getting onto these ones specifically?
I just started working on my pile of shame, but I realized that I was just picking at it. So I just started, okay, I'm going to paint all my dwarves, then I'm going to paint all my humans, which would probably take a couple of years. Then I'm going to paint all the rest of my goblins.
Thank you, campaign terrain. What's the plan? It's that thing where you throw away with the instructions when you start something. Very nice.
So it's like a budget.
I feel seen. I think these are my people. Hi, folks. There's enough blue for now. I'm not feeling particularly accurate today, so I don't think I'm going to make a start on these kilts for these sort of Highlander guys.
Okay, so again,
I think these are probably my favorites of the minis that I've done so far. I think they're just coming together well. They're really like cool shapes. So I'll put this guy. I can perch him somewhere. Here we go. So this guy with a horn there, and this one with the cool axe. Yeah, I really like the sort of composition of the minis, but they feel like they're probably halfway done. I've sort of done the base colors. I've got all the main bits the colors need to be. It's now the highlighting, the edge highlighting and stuff. Or,
gotcha.
Do you ever paint like edge recessing, like going around stuff to make like sharp barriers, sharp corners for the low points rather than just the high points?
Not normally, because what I will do is I usually build that while I prefer to build up the colors rather than recessing later. Now, there are some cases where I will do that, for example, on vehicles, but what I do is usually, for panel lining and stuff, what I do in that case is usually using an oil wash.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any oils yet.
Yeah, don't mess with them for now.
Okay.
It's better to get used to the acrylics first. But yeah, again, for edge highlighting, for example, use a big brush. Because basically you're going to be using the edge of the brush anyway.
Yeah, if you try and paint with a tip, it's going
Yeah,
to
that does work.
yeah, going to struggle. So I think next up, I'm just going to try and do the base on this guy with the horn. So on the base of this one, it's a 3D printed solid one, but it's got some like rocky outcrops on it.
Hmm.
I'd like the base to be a bit more contrasty with him, but because he's part of a group, I kind of want them all to be a bit unified and together. So
The base does make a big difference, especially. I'm guessing they're all kind of painted like individuals, so you didn't go for like a uniform color scheme.
no, they're fairly uniform. So they've all got the kilts. They've all got these green.
Ah, yeah, the kilts. Okay.
Kilts. I'll grab the rest. Actually, only one second away.
But yeah, keeping the bases consistent is a big part of having them look unified. Doesn't mean they have to be identical, but it helps if they're at least similar.
So I've not actually painted any of their bases yet. So there's a squad of I think 5, 6 of them. I found 4. So if you can see, there's this guy. Put him in the foreground. There we go. That guy with the axe. So I did some sand on the base of him, but the others are just molded rocks and stones and stuff. So I've not really done anything. So I think first job is actually probably going to be paint the sand, so get that back to a uniform color, because that's currently like, well, it's orangey sand rather than sort of the gray of the rocks and things. But the rocks don't have to be gray. I was thinking, can I think of something to be interesting and contrasty to these green kilts? But color theory, like maybe an orange or something, or something quite light.
Something like yellow ochre would probably work. So it's not as strong as orange. You want it to contrast but not draw too much attention.
Yeah.
So yellow ochre with a very light gray highlight would probably work.
You're titanium, nope. You are cadmium yellow, which thank you for recommending cadmium yellow to me, by the way, because
that's such an awesome paint.
So many things easier. It's just nice and strong.
I think that's the best yellow paint I found so far. So, do you have any upcoming plans for Renegade rolls or the actual plays?
I've already filmed the next actual play, which I just need to edit still, which will be my Daggerheart duet.
Right.
And you can see the theme that these there'll be these 3 Daggerheart videos, and they'll be on other systems. But the reason for this one is that my friend Henry, he couldn't get away from work, so he ended up missing the first game that I played with everyone else. So his punishment is a solo game where I effectively did a dungeon crawl for him. And you remember when I was saying how my players were saying with such glee about how the other player found this sort of orb of what happens when they die. Well, I asked them, so why do you think this character's not with you? What's happened to your friend? And again, that enthusiasm and just out and out glee of saying, oh, he's been captured, and there's cultists, and they're going to, and like all of a sudden they just did my world building for me, because I didn't really have anything. Again,
Nice.
what was meant to be a one shot gets immediately out of hand.
So that's good. I mean, you're getting your players to do the session scripting for you.
Yeah, it's great. I'm very lazy. Well, I'm not. I make up for it in other ways, but I enjoy that. I definitely enjoy that collaborative side of just seeing, just seeing what can happen together. I think I don't actually have a yellow, but Azo yellow, which I think is a bit. Yeah, that's a very bright one. So maybe just the burnt umber some more. Do you mean burnt umber or raw sienna?
Okay, what you can also do is if you go with a raw sienna, just paint the rock gray, right?
Say again, sorry?
If you want to try this, paint the rock gray with white highlights. And then once that's dry, you make a wash of raw sienna and just dump it all over the rock.
Ah, nice. So what do you recommend for then the rest of the base? So like these sandy colors. So he's got a sandy base, and then there's other rocks and things. Each of them is, yeah, probably a sandy color base, and then rocks and things around them.
I mean, any kind of earth color would work, to be honest.
Yeah, it could be almost like a forest.
Again, that's why I like to use forbidden chocolate. I don't have to paint it. It's literally just soil. So I am also very lazy.
Yeah, I do want to contrast. So the green of the kilts will be quite relatively brightish.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just a less saturated color for the base. Got my neutral gray. I'll start with neutral gray over the sand. That's probably a smart choice. Just to get everything back to the same color. Can always do it. Bring it up again. I like how thick this neutral gray is. It's really good for, because there's been a few models where I've done just colors that did not work. I was like, oh, how can I get this back to normal? Just paint it gray again. There's actually, I'll show you the two I'm proud of. Just 1 second. Oh,
All right.
these two.
Yeah,
These two here.
the blending on these is really good.
Yeah, I really like those, and it's one where I was looking at these models and thinking, okay, they're assassins in cloaks, but I don't just want to do them like grey or black or brown or something. What would be interesting? And I thought, yeah, I'll paint them, red to yellow, so I can practice that wet blending technique.
I mean,
It did take me a few tries though, because I had to get a very even base color of the yellow first before then adding in the other colors. But I'm really happy with how they turned out. And then well, I was like, okay, what world building does that need? What kind of assassin wears a
Where's his bright idea? I
flame-colored?
was going to say.
Yeah, and well, the answer is, well, anyone can be an assassin, all dressed in black. Oh, look at me, that's easy. But it takes real skill, takes real craft to be a killer, to get away with it while dressed in sort of, what do I call it? I had a good name for them. I think they were, oh, Sunfire. That was it. Sunfire assassins.
Okay, so some kind of cult-like thingies.
Yeah, or even just like a elite squad, like the best of the best.
All right.
Like you've not even heard of these guys.
That's how good they are.
Yeah. I'm going to use my biggest brush now for. I was going to do just a grey base on this guy. I think that's smart. So I've got my monster brush. But I quite like finding the story of these minis. So like when I started painting this little group of these Highlanders here, they were just like, "Ooh, they're dressed the same." Okay, but now I've decided they all wear kilts. I decided they've all got brightly coloured hair because I wanted to use the I wanted to use the nice colours in the fluorescence and the
Ooh, okay.
iridescence. So there's nice purples and there's a cool copper colour. Again, it's not showing up well on camera, but I'll take some pictures.
I mean, if I do this again, I definitely need to figure out how to focus the camera properly, because this was. I mean, I'm just dry brushing mail, so it's not really like anyone is missing anything.
I think we're going to get an even bigger brush, and I don't really want to get sand in this one either. So actually, one moment again. Yeah, 2 seconds.
I usually keep a few shitty brushes to do that kind of work.
Here we go. So this one I was last using to paint my walls. I just finished painting my kitchen.
That works.
So this one should be just right. And I don't mind getting sand on it. How do you keep the bases and things if you are using sands and soils? How do you keep them like stuck down?
What's this?
So like I PVA glued these, and they seem quite stuck. But then I started like just with the other brush. I was like, there's a couple coming
Okay.
loose there.
So what I do with that is, okay, use PVA glue. You get the basic material down.
Mm-hmm.
Then what you do is you get some either isopropyl alcohol or surgical spirit. Both of them work fine.
Okay.
And you water them down about 50% alcohol and 50% water. Okay. You drip it into the over the base, so it soaks in. And then what you do is you put another pass of watered down PVA on top of it. So what will happen is the alcohol will make the original water dry very quickly, and it will pull the PVA into the base, into the basic material. It's a very useful trick for terrain building, especially because if you've got large surfaces, then stuff is going to come off.
Mm. Yeah, and I don't really want sand up in my brush. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, and I realised I'm painting over my. I probably shouldn't have done, but I'm painting over the little grass tufts I added. Those should have probably come. Those should have come last.
Those should go last usually.
Yeah. Well, I know that now, but
and
I just bought them. I was excited to use them. I was like, yeah, I'll chuck on everything.
Okay. Another thing you can do to both to avoid having this problem and to get the material stuck down even better. Basically, you mix the sand with the paint and then paint it on.
So you make a big goopy mess. And
yes.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, it's all these things I'll either learn like either from yourself or from a tutorial, or I'll learn the hard way and go, oh no, that one's terrible. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying the process. I'm enjoying being new at this, and clearly, like I can see how much better I'm getting, even like week by week. Whereas I know obviously that curve kind of slows down a bit as you
eventually,
yeah, longer. But yeah.
Mostly it will start to slow down when you start getting into habits, because you'll always be doing the same things, and
yeah,
basically the better you get at it, the less there is to learn. So as long as you keep experimenting with new things, it's pretty good, I would say.
Sure. And there's a few things in life I'd love to be already good at and don't particularly want to put in the time and effort and energy to do. Like I'd love to be already good at the violin. That'd be great. But the thought of me spending 1,000 hours to get competent at it
it's a bit much.
Yeah, not appealing. Oh, I've made a mistake. So I'm going to do very quickly one clean brush, got it wet, and I got some grey on the kilt, but because that's already dried, hey, there we are.
That was what I was telling you last time about. Sometimes I will work with a wet brush and just quickly keep it in my mouth like this.
Yeah.
So it's always instantly available. Obviously, today that will be a bit of a problem because we're talking.
Yeah.
We shouldn't talk with brushes in our mouths.
Not polite. Oh. My mother brought me up better than that. Yeah. What's interesting now is that sand, it doesn't look nearly as sort of bespoke pieces anymore. I know the paint's still wet on it, but it's kind of gone into just sort of a textured bumpiness rather than it doesn't look so much like individual grains of sand. It
should look different again once it dries out a bit.
Yeah, because it's maybe a bit watery just now.
Oh, by the way, painter's thumb.
Very nice.
No, when you're testing the consistency of paint, that's one of the best ways to test the brush.
Yeah, test on Karl's thumb.
Or anyone's thumb, really.
Just find someone, borrow their thumb. Excuse me. Some painting. Block of water. Oh no, you've already dried in. You must be an old mistake. That's annoying.
So if it's paint that has been that has already dried in place, then you might be better off painting over it, I guess.
Yeah. A couple of new bits which I have caught, but there was one I was like, why is that not coming off when I'm doing this? Yeah, it took me a second.
Chat is being unusually quiet today. I believe we may have lulled them into sleep.
Oh, that was quest board terrain, just at that exact moment.
Oh, hey, Chris Bertwig. How's it going?
I think you summoned them with that.
We're literally hypnotizing people by having them watch paint dry.
I don't even need any paint drying on my screen here just now. I can. What about my base coat of my blue boy? This guy. He's off screen. There he is. That's looking good now. There are some bits that have come on a bit stronger than others for him, which is probably not a problem. But yeah, I'll need to. Hopefully, the second coat will be a bit more even.
Remember, just
I realize I could say indefinitely until I die. Like, oh yes, maybe the 10th coat will be better than.
usually, I mean, if you're diluting your paint properly, about 2, maybe 3 coats max should be pretty smooth.
Yeah, I hope I can still see the details after that, which generally I can. Like, I'm feeling quite happy that there's lots of detail remaining on them now. Which, when I was doing my first couple, I was like, I wonder why it's all just vanishing. And yeah, just paint way too thick. But yeah, I mean, even with a wet palette, and it just helps everything stay a bit better.
I should have.
Yeah, there was a video I watched recently. It was literally this guy painting, I don't know, some like purple door or something, and
Door?
he was saying, "Oh, it's a proper beginner's tutorial. Oh, why doesn't my paint go on smoothly?" And he sort of showed, well, what happens if you try and do it all thick in one blob, and yeah, just looks awful as you'd expect. And so, okay, well, here's what happens if I take it in 2 and 3 coats, and obviously the difference is night and day. But yeah, so it was a really nice, clear representation of exactly what happens. I thought it was really good.
Now, I should have used the wet palette today because the paint is literally drying super fast because it's hot today. But I did not, so I just have to keep an eye on it.
People are rude to me when I say it's hot, especially people online. I'll say, "Oh yeah, it's like 25 degrees today," and then they just laugh. Admittedly, like from Texas or something, it's like okay, but yeah, I don't do well in the heat. And anything above maybe 23, 24, I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's 27 degrees here right now, which is at almost 9 in the evening.
Yeah. Scotland is just warm enough for me. That's plenty. Don't need any more.
Yeah, next week it's going to be 42 or something like that.
Oh no, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
But then at least I suppose your buildings and homes and things are kind of more designed for that. No?
I mean, kind of, but not so much. Kind of.
Yeah, because we'll have maybe 1 or 2 weeks where it'll be sort of 25, 26 or something. And it's just disgusting because houses here are made to be sort of warm in winter, not worrying about being cool in summer.
Yeah, I remember when I was working in the UK, it was like 2003, 2004, maybe, I don't know, but there were a few heat waves there. It's like, how do you live in these places? How? It was literally people fainting on the tube just from the heat, because it's not really made to. It's not really made for that kind of temperatures.
I'll try painting some grey wood rather than straight up brown. So my first thought is, oh, I'll just do all the wood in brown because wood is brown. But actually, I think I'm doing a fairly I've got leftover watery grey I'm going to use for this base. I think it'll be
I
quite
mean,
nice.
if it's like driftwood or stuff like that, yeah.
Mhm.
What you can do also is start with the brown, but then dry brush it in grey. So you've still got that kind of brown undertone.
Yeah. Good point. In that case, I will not. I often get into the probably bad habit of thinking, oh, here's the paints on my palette. I will use that for everything. I'll paint all the bits in this color.
It is a choice. You could do that. It is a choice. But then again, it depends on the style you're going for.
I don't think I quite have a style yet. I'm still learning some of the fundamentals there. I'm just happy to be here. Just happy painting.
Okay, campaign terrain, it's 32 degrees Celsius here today, and I'm in a converted sunroom with no AC or insulation. It's 34 degrees in here right now. Oh. Stay safe, Cross.
Yeah. It's a bad time. Got lemonade. Carefully sat next to me before we started.
Did it say again?
I'm saying about some lemonade. Got out of the fridge earlier, just in time for this. Rapidly gaining a temperature. Also because I'm under quite bright lights as well, because I wanted to make sure I could actually see the base painting them. So I've got my brought my studio lights through, which are lovely, but yeah, a bit intense.
Yeah, that was one of the things that surprised me when I started doing videos and stuff. You need more lights than you think you do, and once you have the lights, it's like, Jesus, they're hot.
Yeah, mine aren't too bad for temperature because they're all LED ones. They're all like new standards and things. But they're just having on for a while, and obviously me being in the room with them, it gets toasty.
That's quite nice in winter.
Yeah, I was going to say free heating, but you're still paying for the heating. It's still paying for the electric.
Let's call it incidental heating. Yeah.
I need to find out what color Lucas Frost Jr. is. Interesting question. It should be in that one. I'm looking through my campaign notes. So one thing that I did was I gave each character a different color, just so I could because we were playing online with VTTs and things. I thought, oh,
makes sense.
Give each one their own thing. Lucas Frost Jr. is Lucas Frost Jr. So I was going to do his. He was going to have a blue cloak. That was going to be quite nice.
91 degrees.
He's actually wearing 3 layers. He's got a cloak and an open shirt, and then those abs. If Salty Nick's still watching, I'm not sure if I'm looking at abs on this guy or not. Either way, I'll do it. I'm going to stop painting his cloak.
You can always make them abs. If in doubt, make them abs.
Well, I think they're kind of sculpted, but they kind of stop halfway down. So it might be like a shirt with like those doublet kind of things. Can't see too clearly. But Salty Nick, if you know, you can tell me.
Okay, loosely connected.
They're not quite anatomically right. So I was looking, going, what? But I could easily make them like a shirt with like sort of golden detail or something. Would be quite fun. But yeah, I should use my biggest brush, my monster brush this, I'm going to do the turquoise on his. There we go. Turquoise on his cloak. Yeah. What's your YouTube story, Carl?
Hmm?
How do you start? How do you start making YouTube videos and things? How did that come about?
So I had started editing some videos for my martial arts classes. I was taking martial arts classes, Persian, war wrestling, and so on. And the instructor was
I don't know what that is. I'm curious now. Tell me.
It's about picking up people and beating them to death with planets. But
I have more questions.
Okay, so my instructor was based in Germany, so basically I would record the progress and send him the videos and get feedback and so on. Then we had started to make some instructional videos for his channel. And I had originally started my channel as a way to kind of get more familiar with speaking on camera, with editing videos and so on. That kind of became its own thing eventually.
Yeah, and was it always TTRPG stuff you were talking about with that, or had it?
No, I think
like making things and doing like all the hobbies and crafts and stuff.
99% of it is making terrain for tabletop games. And I'm not religious, so basically whatever I make is getting used for war games, is getting used for tabletop games. Like, I mean, even these are Warhammer miniatures. They, even unpainted, they've seen more use on tabletop role-playing games than than on a wargaming table.
I don't think I've ever played a war game, like a proper, like historical one.
But I think you had mentioned you had played Warhammer or Mordheim or something.
Yeah, I played the Games Workshop ones, but
those are war games. They count.
Okay, well, fine, I have them, but no like real world sort of historical reenactments or like any of the sort of large army kind of ones. That's just never sort of crossed my path. It's a shame. Could probably quite enjoy them.
They're interesting. I mean, when I was younger, there were a couple of guys at the club I used to go to who used to play Napoleonic war games. Mm-hmm. But that was the kind of game where they'd literally they'd be playing the same game for months on end. It's like over the course of a day, they make maybe 2 moves.
So it's so big and strategic, like so. Like grand scale, or was it just needlessly just overly complicated like that?
No, I think that was just the way they played it. I think they were just enjoying hanging out there and
Oh, cool.
You know, just giving them an excuse to hang out, really.
Good. Something I'm not good at is finding ways of painting. So like the inside of this cloak here, it's all like behind his legs, and there's no. I'm not seeing a really easy angle to get at it.
There might not be.
This is precast to the base as well, so.
There might not be an easy way to get to it. But on the other hand, if it's that well hidden, then it's probably not worth painting anyway, because no one will see it.
Yeah. True. Yeah, I need to keep reminding myself that people are mostly going to see these from above, and no one's going to be particularly sort of close in person to it. But I still like to do it well, though. I know that if you can see something, you can probably dab a paintbrush at it.
Yep. And if you can see something, then sorry, if you cannot dab a paintbrush at it, you probably cannot see it.
In which case, you don't know about it because you can't see it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think I might have made a bit of a mess of this, but nothing that a few washes won't solve later.
I do feel that I'm still at the stage of learning how to do a smooth base coat. That feels like if I can crack that, I feel like it sort of unlock lots of other techniques become possible. But like what I've done just now, just this sort of first coat on here, it's clearly not even. I mean, it is like half drying. So, but I know that when it dries, it still won't be quite right. So learning that, getting good at doing that consistently.
How many
My
layers
first
of
sort of.
how many layers do you have on that?
So this is the first one so far, but
Yeah,
it's drying in very,
it's okay.
very much all over the place.
You always assume you're going to put at least 2 layers in there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't put a good base coat in one pass. That doesn't still work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool.
It's also a question of managing that expectation.
Mm. Yeah, and I know things like speed paints and stuff you can do quite a lot. I think you've got your hand up, by the way, Carl. I think you've put a
Do I?
overlay on yourself. Yeah. Oh, it's gone again.
I didn't get it.
It's gone again now.
I didn't quite catch what you said.
Oh, you had it was like the hand up as like wanting to speak.
No.
No, it was the icon on screen that you had on.
Ignore that. It's probably seeing my hand on the table and thinking it's.
Oh, that's needlessly helpful.
Yeah.
That's really strange. I've never seen that. I wish I'd watched more. I wish I'd learned more of the stuff about brush care before I started with these ones, because this one's very much splitting.
Okay, so
much about it.
What you want to do?
Other than I'll religiously point it together again, but that's
okay. So what you want to do immediately after we finish here is you go to the sink. Is that a synthetic or a natural?
Natural, I believe.
Okay, natural.
It's not clear, but it's a small question. Do you know what kind of hair it comes from? Is it human or something else?
It depends, but usually sable or some kind of small animal like that. Horse hair sometimes, but yeah, it depends.
So in that case, I need to look for synthetic brushes then. It had not crossed my mind. I was like, oh, I'll get paintbrushes. That'll be good.
So the thing with synthetic brushes is, as soon as you finish, I think most of mine. I think I have 2 natural hair brushes, but I don't use them very often. Dish soap. Wash them up. Wash them again until the all the paint is out, and then rinse them. And after that, you just repoint them and let them dry. They're good to go.
Yeah, generally sort of do that, and sort of repointing I would tend to twist a little bit, but I'm not quite sure if that's good or bad or frowned upon or not.
Second.
So like as in repointing, if I like twist the where are we? Yeah, twist the end of the brush.
I try not to usually, but it's not really going to on a synthetic. It's not going to make that much of a difference.
Oh, these are natural ones.
Yeah, on naturals it probably makes much more of a difference. And for naturals, you've got stuff like brush soap, brush conditioner, stuff like that, which depends on the brush. I mean, if it's a super cheap natural, you might not want to bother. If it's it's an expensive one, definitely bother, because it's much cheaper to take care of it than to replace it.
I'm going to send you a photo actually of the demon lady.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sure she's all in focus. And my question for you is, I'll put it in our Discord chat. What do you think would be the best things to do for her to really like elevate it up, make it the next level, up? 2 seconds.
Okay.
Send it to you.
Are you sending it on Discord?
Yes, it'll come on our Discord chat. And she's quite nice. I like her. I've painted in the lines. It's all like all the base colors are in, but I don't really know what to do next. There's a few things I like on her. I really like the horns because I've got a cool bit of detailing.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. But I feel like the face is very cool. We've got it on stream. So the face is very kind of flat just now. And yeah, looking to do more. I was thinking of doing like highlighting on the armor and stuff.
Okay, so what I would...
So I did a little bit of sort of reddish on this. It's like black with reddish through it.
Yeah.
And I've not done any of the details around the belt and things yet.
So just right off the bat, I would say highlights on the edges of the armor. if you can get a black wash on the male parts, that would help a lot because it would increase the definition of the pieces.
Yep.
Of the rings.
Mhm.
The skin could probably use a few more highlights.
Yeah, it's just the flat tone just now.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting. What's not come up particularly well on there is the base of the horns. So if you look at the horns above her right eye there,
Yeah.
that's actually quite textured on there. So it's interesting. It's not quite showing up on the photo, but I did those as almost like darker, like brownish, as though they are part of the horn, but it's not really showing up
Okay.
in that photo.
Possibly a very light wash on there, just specifically on those areas, maybe.
On the bits around the horns there. Yeah.
And you might also like you mentioned just at the bottom of the horn, just where it meets the skin. So you just put a very, very little, very diluted black in there, just so it creates a little definition.
So there's that sharper
Yeah.
point there. Yeah, I really like the highlights on the horns. They're good, and they actually look nicer in person than they do. I'll try and take a photo with my good camera because that was just on my phone there, just for speed. And I like the color blends of the turquoise to purple spikes at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Which I just decided, what would be an interesting contrasty color. It's probably a bit out of focus. It was trying to be like portrait mode on there. But,
it's fine. It's like the blend is still visible. It's looking interesting.
Yeah, and then for the base itself, I had a load of spare orange. I thought I'll do an orange wash. That'll be fun. And it kind of looks cool inside the eyes of the skull there.
Yeah, it has that little
so
glow thing.
Yeah, I quite like the colors, but it now needs sort of like the polish, the finishing. I feel like I'm about halfway through, even though it's already all the colors it needs to be.
I think, like I said, from my end, what I would suggest is literally the washes on the mail, the edges on the armor, and putting a few more levels of highlighting on the skin.
Oh, I should do the little black wash because that's nice and quick.
Okay, and yeah, if anyone in the chat has any advice for Rich, now would be the time.
Yes, please do, as I'm very enthusiastic amateur, that's for sure. But learning, actually, Carl, I'm going to say thank you again because you taught me. I think you got me from absolute noob to someone who feels at least confident with the basics, just through our couple of chats and just hanging out together and learning your wisdom. So I really do appreciate you, and even just the time that you've the time you've taken just to share and share some wisdom. I really
That's
appreciate
nothing,
it.
man. That's nothing.
So next question, and if I'm doing a wash, I've got a little. Here's my wet palette. Whoop.
That's it.
I think.
Uh-huh.
So one little dab of black. The grey's gone everywhere now, but that's fine.
It happens, yeah.
So for doing a wash, is that actually worth doing on the wet palette, or should I use I've got a bit of tile.
Doesn't make a difference, really.
As well. Right. And I will just do that same brush. So water down and water down and water down. It's figuring out the consistency I'm aiming for. That's what I'm never quite sure about. So it's like, I'll probably put it back on here again. So yeah, from my black blob, I'm now sort of doing that pulled out.
Okay, that.
Learned a lot about painting faces from watching makeup tutorials. Huh.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
that is great advice.
Learn contouring.
So let's see. If it's at a wash consistency, if you tilt the thing, it should run on its own, kind of thing.
Okay, I need more water then. Oops. Even though it's on the wet palette.
I mean, unless it's a super absorbent wet palette, I think it's it's going to do that.
Okay, so I need even more water. I do pure water. Is actual water running on my wet palette first? So if I tilt it about 20 degrees, regular water is still not
Seriously?
It's still not moving. Yeah. And it's this wet palette is the standard Army Painter one.
Okay.
Which that's
So yeah, maybe try it on the piece of tile or what you said. It might be easier.
Oh, where's my piece of tile?
But yeah, basically, if it's a wash, if you tilt it, it should start running.
Okay. So one tile. Oh yeah, that's moving on the tile now.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So that's actually looking. It looks a bit thicker on the. I should compare and contrast here. And this is the kind of stuff I've never seen like good tutorials on. But so get that on camera.
Okay, no.
So that's the wet palette there, and then that's the tile.
Yeah.
And yeah, running on one, not the other, even at the same angle.
So there isn't really like, okay, this is a wash consistency and this is a glaze consistency. It all depends on what you want it to do, and you need to get used to what different thickness consistencies will do. Because there isn't a wrong consistency. It's what you need to apply it for.
Yeah, so the right tool for the job.
Yep. So
there's a bit of armor on the back that I'm practicing on, which is nice.
It's almost been 2 hours.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we'll be jumping onto the Discord too soon to look at the community showcase. Let me just drop the link again in case anyone to jump in. If I find the window. Here. So when do you say your next video is dropping, Rich?
Next video should be out on it'll be Monday next week. So not tomorrow, but the Monday after.
I think you're busy enough tomorrow.
Yeah, but busy enough tomorrow. But yeah, generally I upload videos at 4 p.m. UK time every Monday. With most of the videos are the Game Master advice, but the actual plays on the other channel are going to come thick and fast.
Okay.
Very soon. But yeah, 4 p.m. on Monday is my usual spot. Which for no particular reason. I don't know if the algorithm likes that or not, but it just happens that was the day and time that I uploaded my first one, and apparently YouTube rewards consistency, so I'm going to be belligerent about it.
I mean, mostly I just upload whenever the hell I feel like, so it's like I can't really tell you one way or the other. I mean, I am fairly consistent with the streams I try, at least because people would have to sit down and be there to be in the chat, but other than the streams, I don't really care about the I don't really care about the timing of the videos. The algorithm might.
Algorithm, who knows? Wonderful mystery. One thing on this armor is that I used metallic paint for it, but after your advice and sort of other folks as well, I might switch when I do dry brushing to them to just use like grays and whites, non-metallic ones, so that yeah, just so it looks. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm still exploring, still finding out.
Okay, as soon as I finish this, I'll show you what I've been painting, because basically I've been doing the armor on these dwarves. Which is exactly what you're talking about right now, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, shade and highlight on her face as well. That's I think the hair too, trying to get it to be a bit. I don't know, it's tricky. I'm Yeah,
Mhm.
me and you might not be experts in hair in our own lives.
Yeah,
But,
that is a kind of outside my area of expertise.
Hmm. So I reckon a dark wash. I just did a little bit of black in the corner on the back of her. And I was like, that makes it so much brighter. But I'm gonna, well, so much more defined. But I'm actually gonna take that out from the rest of it because it's too
Okay.
dark.
If I'm not mistaken,
yeah.
Vince Venturella has some good tutorials about painting here.
What was that name? Sorry,
Vince Venturella.
Vince Ventrella.
I
Nice.
can send it to you. Send you the name later.
Yeah. Yes, please.
But if I remember correctly, his advice was mostly look at the packaging for hair dyes, because they basically show exactly where the highlights go and what highlight goes on what color.
True. Yeah, the fact as well, it's not all the same color. Like, unless you've got a very like cheap dye, there's like different tones and things that come out, especially under different lights.
Yeah.
But
But also the other thing is that the way light reflects off hair is very different from the way it reflects off leather, for example, or metal.
So I'm sure that's cool. It's like because the hair's all in lines like that, it follows that.
Kind of, but let's say, for example, if you even if you look, for example, at anime hair, for example, it's actually a good way of showing it. You've got the blob of color, right? But then the highlight is usually around this area, rather than at the top where you might expect it.
So many things to learn, and a lot of the learning, I think, for this, obviously, in addition to the physical skill of painting, it's about art theory or looking at light. It's like cross compatible with any other kind of drawing or art, or
It is
like lessons from one very much can apply to the other.
Yes, but the specific problem of these miniatures is that they're two-dimensional and they're very small. Oh, good to see you, Kimura Gaming. So basically, because they're very small, the color will work a bit differently. It will generally look a bit darker because it's tinier, as opposed to if you had a very large area of color.
Interesting.
The other problem is that they're small enough to have shadows, but not significant shadows.
Yeah, the physical depth of the
exactly
of how far away the high point from the low point is. So we find ourselves exaggerating that.
Yes, exactly, because that's why you have to put in more work to no, focus. Just taking a couple of shots of these. There. So since these have been out of focus for the whole evening.
Second coat of turquoise. And hopefully everything will be nice and even. I've decided it'll be nice and smooth.
Okay, so Discord. Here we go.
Thank you. That's appeared.
Second.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I can see that. So that's the two shots of the armor. Yeah,
okay, so that's black with a dry brush of dark gray, with a dry brush of blue gray, and then with a dry brush of white.
Nice. Yeah, something I noticed on that one, the spray painting is quite little bit blobby.
Yeah, I don't care about it because that's going to be completely covered up. If you were going to use speed paints, you would need a smooth spray paint over that.
Ah, right. So I was just thinking that that's does the painting another layer on top? I don't know if that's got any like physicality to the blobs or if they're just
No, they're very thin splatters.
okay. That's not a huge problem if they're because I was quite worried when I was spray painting. I was like, oh, I want to get this even because I don't want to have that effect. Because the first time I tried it, I was had a few like that.
Now the thing with spray painting is how you spray paint makes a difference because again, even when I started spray painting for the first time, it was like, okay, grabbing the miniature.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to do two things. It's going to flood the miniature, so you're going to lose all the detail, and it's going to clog your spray paint. This is a water bottle, not a spray paint, but still.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the best practice, you sort of do little. Was it you spritz it? I think that's the.
Okay, so what I do is that's one of the reasons I have this this whole handle.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you do is you start from here, start spraying from here,
mm-hmm.
make a burst, stop, spray across again, and you keep making passes like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you release the spray can at the end of every run. So it's like spray, 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 and you do about 4 or 5 layers like that.
Mm-hmm. So I'm quite happy with my spray paint for these ones, especially the set with the set with this blue giant in. I think they've come out. They've worked pretty well. It just looks fairly smooth and even, which is nice. And it was using much less than it did first time. Oh, it's full screen, Carl. Hey, full screen, Carl. It's full screen, Carl. You're on your main camera now. Not just
yeah. I think I finished these for the evening, so I think I'll
cool.
Let them sit for a bit.
Nice.
Possibly a few weeks.
A little bit more on this one. Just trying to get the second coat of turquoise, which might be even. We'll find out. It might need a third, but I'm erring on the side of watery rather than
just dip them in house. It is an option.
Oh, sorry, was that something in chat?
Yeah, Campaign Terrain said I just dipped them in house paint.
Nice. They will be painted.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're ready, let's go jump into Discord and see what everyone has posted.
Sure, I'll switch my camera back to just my face. Brace yourselves. Whoop.
Ah!
Thank you. Don't you brace yourself. It's your own fault if you're scared.
Okay, so let's see what... Oh, good God. Lucy collected. This is amazing.
Oh, wow.
I think he had mentioned that this was for halfling jousting or something like that. I forget what the name of the game was.
I have questions now. Well, I want to hear about halfling jousting. That's very cool.
Okay, we've got a whole hedge arena kind of thing.
Yeah, I like those hedges, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like I was trying to do an itinerary of minis and models and bits that I actually need for running this Keep on the Borderlands game. It turns out the main thing I need is horses and hedges and walls.
Really? Right.
Like all the fancy stuff. But yeah, like bits like this is so much of what I need because I was going to do physical maps for the castle and the keep, and
I see. Yeah.
so I did a big index. This is did it all in Obsidian, of course, but yeah, a big index of just how many models and stuff it would need to completely flesh it all out. And yeah, it was like 40 horses,
Whoa.
100. Yeah, I'm not going to get 100. I'm not going to get 40 horses, but.
Okay.
That's cool.
I think that's a goblin, some pigs, some kind of bear, the turtle.
Yeah.
These are badass.
Oh, I love those. They're so cool. I love that. I like the colours on the pig too. It's very,
Yeah.
very, very red.
This looks. And the raptor, of course.
The Velociraptor. That's great.
Okay, loosely collected. Those are looking pretty awesome. Also from loosely collected.
Oh, hell
Some
yeah! Rainbow Mohawk on the dwarf there.
yeah, some kind
That is,
of
I think the only word for this is that's fabulous.
yeah.
I'm loving that so much.
I'm not sure what the scene is, what this robot is and stuff, but looks like a boxing ring or a wrestling ring over there.
Mm,
Pretty awesome.
yeah, love that little sort of diorama there. Just the colours on that are fantastic.
These are all made with toiletry junk. I think he's talking about the hedges and the walls that we were seeing earlier.
That's awesome. Loving that.
This is some pretty sweet painting.
Yeah, I'm trying to see on the robot thing. Is there a physical light inside that, or is it just painted in such a way it looks like it's glowing from that center there? Because to
I
me, I'm thinking, oh, we got a little LED inside there.
I'm gonna say it's painted just because there doesn't seem to be any space for a battery.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
But like, it just without knowing anything more about it, like, is that a light inside? So it's such a good effect, making it come together like that. Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, object source lighting is such a cool trick.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one is from Questboard Terrain.
Very nice. Cool goblin. I enjoy the just that really expressive pose on the mini there. That was,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you know there's trouble happening. There's definitely trouble afoot. Yeah. And the purple
Okay,
boots as well. Very nice.
so Questboard Terrain does terrain builds and then tells the story while showing how they're built.
Mhm.
And yeah, no one cares. There is always some kind of trouble going on, so it's pretty amazing. Ooh, that's an interesting looking little and absolutely not cursed house in there.
Yeah. What's the roof? Is that made from tree bark or something in there?
Looks like it.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay,
Yeah, that's got hag hut vibes to me.
would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. So,
No.
Questboard Terrain, what is that roof made of?
Mm. It looks almost like you could like it doesn't look like the color, but you could easily paint that to look like fungus as well. It could easily look like sort of certain kinds of mushroom.
Yeah, give it some bright
Yeah,
colors and stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
that would fit. It does look like some kind of bark.
Mm. I'm so impressed, by the way.
Oh, okay.
This is so cool. Pine cones.
Pine cone. All right.
Oh,
Nice.
so it is. Yeah, it's an upside down pine cone.
Huh.
That's brilliant. I've not thought of that. See, as soon as you said pine cone, oh, of course it is. It's just the different perspective. Yeah, that's so cool.
Okay, let's see. Cross from Campaign Terrain. We've got some farming going on.
Cool.
So this is for
Like indeed.
the farm crafting challenge that we've got going on for the 17th of August.
It was really nice. I enjoy that they're not none of them are quite perfect in the best way possible. Like they're like here's how actual plants would grow, even if you plant them in rows, they still go in whichever way they like.
So yeah, Cross does these. Cross was building these in his live streams on his channel, and if I remember correctly, that was an intentional thing. It's like leaving
Yeah.
gaps and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are these made from? Is that it looks like almost like bits of plastic or yeah, these
These
plants
ones
that
I'm
are
not sure, but I know
yeah.
that some of them were like in plastic trees, I think, and if I remember correctly, there was some. I'm not sure if he used it for these or a similar build. Yeah, I think it was these. If I'm not mistaken, these are uh, kitchen sponges pass through a coffee grinder, if I remember correctly.
I love that. Just the ingenuity of
Oh yeah,
sort of figuring out how to work it. I like the guards on these fields as well. Yeah,
yeah, the
very
classic
cool. Yeah.
1992 Battle Master Scales Warriors. Okay, let's see. Oh, these are the fences he was making. He was still finishing off the ground cover. Nice, 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 nice. Oh, okay, and this one is from Stefano and Liam from Kimura Gaming. So, Stefano and Liam are people who can tell you a lot more about painting than I can.
Oh, nice. I think just the temptation every time to go, ooh, I'm making tanks and machines and things. I'm going to make them grey and brown. It's like, nope, this one is going to be the pinkest thing.
Yeah,
That's so
but
good.
they've got some
Something yeah.
freehand going on in there.
Oh yeah. No, that's brilliant. Something I'm trying to do with my ones, especially with those what did I say though? The Sunfire Assassins, whatever I'm calling them.
Uh huh.
Like giving just as much color as I can, because if everything's grey and black and the same, I'm never going to find it.
Yeah, makes
I'll
sense.
literally lose it on my table. So a bit of visual identity, all that stuff.
Oh, it looks like
Definitely stands out. Love it.
if you look at the barrel of the cannon, it looks like it's got some patina on it, like some
Yeah,
crusted dirt and stuff. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. That's so cool. And I like the sort of setup around it as well. I like there's all the grass bits on the ground and things. Like everything looks better with a good base.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm that's what I'm learning. Oh, I can confirm now that grey paint's dried. That yes, I can see the sand textures again. So it's not. I've not just made a big blob on the bases.
Yeah, don't worry
We're
about
all
it.
good there. Yeah. But that's very cool. Love it.
Yeah, and in response to what you said earlier, campaign says, yeah, I intentionally leave them weird so they look more realistic.
Okay. Brilliant. I love that.
Okay, I think that was the last one there. People,
Very
that was
cool.
some good stuff. Love that.
Yeah. This is my first time like coming across any of your community and things, and everyone's super talented. So good. Well, the thing I have to remember, like when people say, "Oh my god, you're so talented," it's like, no, I've just been doing it for a while,
Yeah,
and it's not talented. I'm just choosing to do it again.
thank you for that. I mean, like, when people say someone's talented, it's always one of my pet peeves because it's like, it diminishes the amount of effort people have put into that to learn it.
Mhm.
But mostly it's like saying that, hey, you have to be talented at this or you can never try it. You will never be good at it, which is absolutely not the case.
Yeah. I
So,
do think that in order to be a virtuoso guitarist or something, so yeah, I've played guitar for years. I know I'll never get to the level of, I don't know, Steve Vai or Joe Satriani or someone like that who's an absolute incredible player.
but you don't have to
Um,
enjoy it.
yeah, and I had a lot of fun, and I was semi-professional guitarist for 6 years.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah. Well, we didn't make much money, but we made some.
Yeah, it comes.
And yeah, I would not say I was talented at it, but I put the hours in, and I sort of did the work. I got better, learned as much as I could, took training, got a teacher, all that stuff. And people would always say, "Oh my God, you guys are so good! Oh, you're so talented! Wow, I could never do anything like that." Yeah, you could. Yeah, you totally could. Like I think absolutely anyone, if they choose to, can get to a certain level in anything they set their mind to. If you want to be the best in the world at something, there might be other barriers in your way. Like I enjoy running, but I'm not going to be an Olympic sprinter. I do not have the I
Again,
do
do
not have
you
many of the
want to
skills.
be an Olympic sprinter?
No, I enjoy food.
There you go.
But I can run. I can run 100 meters. I can run a marathon if I choose to, and I get a lot of joy and happiness out of running. And it's not it's not a talent. It's a thing I'm choosing to spend my time on. It's a thing I'm choosing to do because I enjoy it and I enjoy the what comes out of it. And yeah, same with making videos. Same with hopefully one day painting. And people go, "No, why are you so talented?" I'm like, "Okay, thank you." I'm sure we're making that same awkward face at it.
Yeah, I mean, all of the skills involved. I mean, even playing games is something that you learn as a skill. I mean, I don't know
Definitely.
about you, but I was pretty shit at both running games and playing games when I started. So
Same. Oh, same. I don't know if I ever felt bad at playing. My first couple of games were with a fairly experienced group, but they were very gentle with me in terms of, because it was a D&D 5e. I think we were in the middle of Curse of Strahd, and they dropped into that. But I didn't feel bad at it. I think I had the enthusiasm to jump in and try it, which gets you an awful long way into the RPGs. Like
true. Yeah.
if you'll jump in and give it a go and embrace the nonsense, the technical side and the skill of being a good player and whatever that looks like, that can come later, but you will still have fun. Whereas if I was to say I'm going to go and join in I don't know, a chess tournament, and if I come in walking as a brand newbie, never having played chess before, it's not going to be fun. But because it's
Sorry.
the unique thing about TTRPGs is they are this collaborative experience, and but you still wouldn't be if
There isn't as
the
much
win
of
and
a there
sorry,
isn't as much of a handicap as if it was a war game, as that kind of thing.
Yeah, with a winner and a loser. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if I entered a chess tournament, I'd lose 99 out of the first 100 games, and I'd certainly get better. I'd enjoy it. But you can just step into a TTRPG and just have the best time.
True. Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite things is seeing people do exactly that. Step into a game, not know a thing about it, not know the rules, not know the mechanics, but if they're a sensible human and can embrace the chaos, then yeah, everything's good.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's one of the reasons I'm really vibing with rules-based systems at the moment. But just that you can sit down and start playing and not worry about the rules and just vibe with it, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Although I do find that rules light games can be harder to game master.
You're not wrong, no?
Where D&D, for example, gives you a huge amount of rule support and it tells you what to do in every situation. It gives you what do we do if we're underwater? What do we do if we're in space? What do we do if? So it covers all those eventualities. Whereas a rules light system is much more on the game master to be improvise a ruling or just decide stuff.
Yeah,
Which, if you've come from a rules heavier background, it might not be as smooth.
I,
Yeah, and
to, be,
that
to,
is
to be honest, I don't even worry about that much anymore. It's like, okay, what's the coolest thing that could happen in this situation? Okay, fuck it, we're going with that.
yes, always. I mean, it makes me very happy.
Okay, so Rich, I've kept you for almost no, I have kept you for 2.5 hours here. So it's like,
Very happy 2.5 hours. Have a
yeah, I mean,
fantastic time here, Carl. Yeah.
they went by really quickly.
Yeah, and thank you everyone in the chat as well for really kind words as well. I appreciate that. Sort of bearing with me as I slowly figure out painting and things.
Yeah, you're
But
doing
yeah, it's
good.
been absolute delight, Carl. It's been tons of fun.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and yeah, time went by really quick. So we might possibly be doing this again.
Can't wait,
So,
and I'll have hopefully more nice things to show as well.
I'm sure you would. Just keep getting in more of that practice.
Yes, in my spare time.
Obviously.
Whenever that might be, we'll see.
It will happen. And good luck again for tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I'll send you a message about that. I'll send you a bit of behind the scenes stuff there because we just sort of share with like any friends and people who are genuinely curious. But yeah, in the meantime, again, yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, I'll see you super soon.
Okay, thank you for joining us, and everyone else, thank you so much for being here. Remember that we have the farm crafting challenge for the 17th of August. In the meantime, you have a lovely time. Bye.